how your environment affect your emotions. Your environment also influences the way you feel. By environment, I mean everything around you can affect you in some way. It could be people you out with, TV shows you watch, on the place you live, and for instance, negative relatives may drag on down, and while a messy desk may be demotivating. I have noticed that when I feel demotivated and decluttering my desk, cleaning my room, and recognizing files on my computer often gives me boost up motivations for more. How you can your environment to change your emotions. See the sections changing your environment. Okay, next point is how music affects your emotions. We all know music affects our mood. Who hasn't listened to rocky song while working out? For instant, music can help you relax when you are tired, motivate. Okay, you when you are slumping, help you preserve when you are gym, help you access feeling the gratitude and put and you positive mood state. Some studies have shown that listening to positive music can help people boost their mood. In study conducted in 2012, participants reported higher positive mood after listening a positive song for just 12 minutes, 5 minutes over a 2 peak period. Interestingly, it only worked with the participants who were told to make an effort and to boost their mood. Other participants didn't report such mood improvement. Another study conducted in 2014 showed that music can help reduce negative mood and boost self-esteem as indicated below. Specifically, the most significant result of the music interventions of the physiological side can be identified in the aspects more closely related to mood, especially in the reduction of the depressive and anxieties component and in the improvement of the emotions expression, communication and interpersonal skills, self-esteem and the quality of life. Specifically, the most significant result of the music interventions on the physiological side can be identified in the aspects more closely related to mood, especially in the reduction of the depressive and anxiety component and in the improvement of the emotional expression, communication and interpersonal skill and self-esteem and the quality of life. Valerie N. Stratton, PhD, and Annette H. Zelenowski on Penn State University also studies the effect of music on mood. They asked their students to keep music diaries for 2 weeks. Stratton concluded that not only did our sample of students report more positive emotions after listening to music, but their already positive emotions were intensified by listening to music. Interestingly, interestingly, the music general and the context in which student listen to the music didn't affect the result. Student mood improved whether they listen to rock and classical music or whether they were at home driving and socializing. Using music to condition your mind, you can go one step further and use the power of music to conditions your mind by creating playlist tailored to your emotional needs. Building playlist is time consuming but well worth the effort. The world class endurance athletes and coach Christopher Bergland uses music to help him stay motivated and perform at his best. This is what he wrote in an article published in a Psychology Today. As an athlete, I develop an ideal mindset for a peak performance and used an arsenal of time tested songs to fortified by this alter ego and invisible state of mind. During my training and races, it becomes obvious that even in really horrible weather conditions or when I was physically suffering, that I could use music and my imagination to create a parallel universe that had little to do with reality. I used music to stay optimistic and see the glass of perpetually half full while doing ultra endurance races. You can use music as a tool when you work out over or in your daily life or the same way. Christopher also enjoy listening to specific song before the big interview or when he does public speaking. Personally, I like to listen song and that make me feel grateful. What about you? How can you use music sorry, how can you use music in improve your mood? Exercise, experiment with different types of music. Experiment with different types of music and see how can use them boost our mood. For instance, you could the use music to help your meditate, workout or do your homework. As you do so, keep the following points in mind. Everybody is different. Don't listen to a song because it's a popular. Listen to it because it makes you feel the way you want to feel. We all have different musical tastes, and the only thing that matters is how you feel when you listen to music. Keep experimenting. Listen to different types of music and see how they make you feel. Are you inspired, motivated, happy, relaxed? Start creating playlist for specific mood you want to experience. Action step. Use the workbook to design new strategies to better take a control of your emotion. Section 2. How to change your emotions. The mind always seeks to deny the now and the escape from it. In other words, the more you are identifying with your mind, the more you suffer. Or you may put it like this: the more you are able to honor and accept the now, the more you are free of pain, of suffering, and free from the egoic mind. Okay, Eckhart told the power of now. Okay, in this section, we will explore how you can deal with negative emotions and conditions you mind to experience more positive ones. First, we will discuss how emotions are formed. Then, we will discuss the benefits of positive thinking and how to use it conditions in your mind. And after that, we will see why positive thinking isn't enough and what else you can do it deal with negative emotions. More specifically, you will learn point number 1, how to let go of your emotions. Point number 2, how to change your story and create a more. 3, empowering one, how to conditions your mind and how to use your behaviors to change your emotions. And last point is how to modify your environment to reduce negative emotions. Finally, I will share with you a list of short term, long term strategies you can use to better deal with negative emotions. Let's get started. Okay, how emotions are formed. Okay, very important. Please carefully listen. Listen carefully. When a thought emerges on the canvas of your mind, if you don't drop it, its pursuit will either take the form of desire or an emotion, positive or negative. Om Swami, a million thoughts. Few people know how emotions are formed. While we experience them all day long, we seldom, if ever, take a time to understand why we are feeling certain emotions and how they come into existence. First, let's differentiate two types of negative emotions. The first type are the negative emotions you experience spontaneously. These are the emotions that keep you alive, such as the fear our ancestors felt when they encountered a saber-toothed tiger. The second type of negative emotions are the ones you create in your mind and identifying with your thoughts. These emotions aren't necessarily triggered by external events, although they may be. These emotions tend to last longer than the first type, and here is how they work. A random thought arises. You identified with that thought, and this identification creates an emotional reactions. As you keep identifying with that thought, and the related emotion grows stronger until it becomes a core emotion. Let's look at some example. You have money problems, and each time your mind comes up with money related thoughts, you identified with them. As a result, you worry about money intensified. You had an argument with your friend and fell out with him. You can't stop replaying the scenes in your mind. As a result, months have passed and you will still haven't called to make up with your friend. Make up with your friend. You made a mistake at work and are ashamed yourself. You keep revising, revisiting the same thought over and over. As a result, you feeling an inadequacy grow stronger. Your tendency to identify with negative thoughts repeatedly is what allows them grow stronger. The more you focus on your financial challenges, the easier it will be related thoughts to arise in the future. The more you reply the arguments with your friend in your head, the stronger the feeling of resentment will grow. Similarly, as you keep thinking of your mistake of you made at work, you invite feelings of shame and intensify the situation. The point is, when you give thoughts room to exist, they spread and become major points of focus. This simple process of identification allows seemingly inoffensive thoughts to take control of your mind. These identifications with your thoughts, and more importantly, how you choose to interpret them, create suffering in your life. Now let's see in more detail how your emotions are formed. This will help you better deal with negative emotions while allowing positive emotions to grow. And here is a formula to explain how emotions are formed. Interpretations plus identifications plus repetitions is equal to strong emotions. I repeat, interpretations plus identifications plus repetitions is equal to strong emotions. Meaning, interpretations means is when you interpret an event or thought based on your personal story. Identifications is when you identify with a specific thought as it arises. Repetitions means is having the same thoughts over and over. And strong emotions is when you experience an emotion so many times it has become a part of your identity. You then experience that emotions whenever a related thought or event um, triggers it. Altogether, interpretations, identifications, and repetitions give room for emotions to grow. Conversely, whenever you remove one of these elements from the equations, these emotions start losing their power over you. To sum up, for an emotions to grow in intensity and durations, you must first interpret an event or a thought, then you must identify with that thoughts as it arises. Finally, you must repeat the same thought again and again and identify with it. Now let's discuss in more depth each components of the formula. First, interpretations. Okay, interpretations plus identifications plus repetitions means strong emotions. Negative emotions always result from your interpretations of events. That's why two different people might react to the same event in different ways. One might devastated, and while the other might be unaffected. For instance, for a farmer, rain could be blessing, but for someone going to be picnic, it will be seen as a curse, and that is because of the meaning they give to the event. In short, for negative emotions to arise, you must add your interpretations to specific event. The event in it itself cannot trigger negative emotions without your consent. Okay, and so why do you keep experiencing negative emotions? I believe it's because reality fails to meet your expectations. Point number one, you want a reality to be one way, but it turns out to be the another. You go on picnic and want to be the weather to be good, but it's rain. You want to a promotions at work, but you don't get it. And you want to make money with your side business, but you isn't working. Your interpretations of reality create suffering in your life. Reality itself can never be upsetting. This worth repeating. We will discuss in depth how you can change your interpretations in the next section entitled Changing Your Story. Okay, next point is identifications. Okay, now let's focus on the second part of the formula, identifications. For an emotion to survive long term, there must be process of identification. Emotions cannot persist unless you give them your attention. The more you focus on your emotions and identify with them, the more powerful they become. People often feel the urge to identify with their emotions and find themselves unable to disengage from them, but they fail to realize the one of the most important truth in this world: you are not your emotions. Your emotions will come and they will go. So when you catch yourself saying I am sad, remember you are incorrect. Nobody has ever seen be sad, because your emotions are not who are you. Sorry, I repeat this statement. I am sad. Remember you are incorrect. Nobody has ever been sad, because your emotions are not who you are. They can appear to be you, but they will soon disappear like clouds in the sky. Think of yourself at the sun, and the sun is always there, whether or not you perceive it, whether or not it's hidden by cloud. You are not your emotions. You are not sad. You merely experience feeling that you may call sadness, at a given point in this time. This is an important point. I hope you can see the difference. Another way to see your emotion is as the clothes you wear. And what emotional clothes are you wearing right now? Are they clothes and excitement, depression, sadness? Bear in mind, tomorrow or week from now, you will likely be wearing different clothes. How long wear your clothes, your emotion depends on how much you love them. Therefore, how much you are attached to your emotions. An emotion itself powerless. What give is power your conscious or unconscious identifications with it. That's why an emotions given no attention will eventually fade away. Try the following exercise. Whenever you are angry, get busy with the activity requiring your full attention. You will see your anger quickly dissipate. Conversely, keep dwelling on the feeling of anger and you will see it grow until it becomes one of the major emotional state. Point 3, repetitions. We have seen that the way you interpret an event or thought determines how you feel. We also know that as you identify with your thoughts or feelings, they become emotions. Now, if you keep repeating that process, you will conditions your mind to experience these specific emotions, positive or negative. For instance, if you focus your attention on what you believe and your friend did to you, and feelings or resentment will grow. As a result, you could hold a sorry grudges and for a month. People often to do this, they waste time holding on to the negative emotions that serve no purpose just because they can't let go them. Conversely, if you disengage from your thoughts of resentment and simply observe them, over time they will lose power and associated with resentment may fade away. In fact, if you had let go of the thought of resentment immediately after it arose, and your feelings and of resentment would have dissipated almost instantly. We will see how you can let go of your emotions in the section letting go of your emotions. Action step: resist negative emotions from the past using workbook section 3. How to change your emotions. First, how emotions are formed. Recall the last time you felt anger, sadness, frustrations, fear, or depression. Now write down what happens for each of the following interpretations. What events happened and what thoughts arose. Identification: how did you respond to these thoughts. Repetitions: did you identify with these thoughts repeatedly. Changing your interpretations. The sight of your slaughterhouse may trigger a negative emotions in you, whereas it may be positive for the business or owner and natural for the machine operator. It all depends on how will be conditioned. Om Swami, a million thoughts. In itself, and event or thought has no power to alter your emotional state. What generates emotion is the way you choose to interpret the events or thoughts. This is why two people can react differently to the same situations. One will see problem and blame external circumstances, while the other will see an opportunity to be embraced. And one will get stuck and other will grow. The way you interpret events is closely linked to general assumptions you hold about life. As such, it is essential we first delve into the underlying assumptions that leads to this interpretation. Exploring your assumptions to enter a given emotional state, you made certain assumptions regarding how things should be. These assumptions constitute your the subjective reality because you are convinced they are true. You don't question them. Below are some example assumptions you may have. Problem should be avoided. This is a problem. I should be healthy. I will be live at least until I am 17. I must get married. Complaining is normal. There is nothing wrong with dwelling on the past. I need to worry about the future and or I can't be happy unless or until insert your answer here. Now let's look at each one of these assumptions. Problem should be avoided. Many people want to get rid of their problems. But what if you can't, and what if you don't need to? For sure, some people have better problems than others, but everybody has a problems. What if the assumptions that you shouldn't have any problems is wrong? What if you need to learn how to dance in the rain and make the most of your problems? What if problems are just challenges to overcome and part of life? This is a problem. What if this thing you label as a problem is actually not a problem? What if it doesn't matter as much as you think? What if it's an opportunity in disguise? And how could be you make it so? I should be healthy. We tend to take our health and granted, but we cannot guarantee we won't get sick tomorrow. What if your health is blessing and not necessarily the default position? Wouldn't that make you think of your the health in different way? I will live at least until I'm 70. You probably assume, you probably assume you will be live long life. But what if that not is case? Isn't living a long life and blessings rather than something you should be take granted? है ना? Opportunity, unfortunately, some people die young, but that's the nature of reality. People say he died too young, but is that correct? Isn't more accurate to say that he just died neither too young or too old? I must get married, maybe or not. That just your interpretation should be generally things society of your parents expect you to do, but it doesn't mean it has to be that way. And these are often cultural norms or conditioned behavior. Complaining is normal. Most complaining is a play of the ego, and this is not constructive. It doesn't help you, doesn't change anything. The only thing it doesn't strength and your ego, and often people try to spend an entire week without complaining and see what happens. There is nothing wrong with dwelling on past. You probably spend too much time dwelling on the past. Everybody does, but you realize the past exists only in your mind, and do you realize you can't change it no matter what you do? Learning from your past is useful. Dwelling on is it isn't it? I need to worry about the future. Worrying about the future is unavoidable to certain extent, but it doesn't help. Instead, you should do the best you can present to avoid future problems. I can't be happy unless insert your answers. You don't need to have the perfect life to be happy. Happiness is a choice you need to make every day. You must practice its sense as you have seen before, and external factors won't significantly affect your happiness. These are just some example assumptions you may hold. My intentions here is show you that your interpretations and the emotions generated from them are largely the result of the assumptions you hold about the world. Thus, to experience more positive emotion, it is important you spend time revising your assumptions, analyzing your interpretations, as we have already seen. Your interpreted events based on your assumptions, analyzing your interpretations, as we have already seen, you interpret events based on your assumptions. And now below are some questions to help you understand what I mean by interpretations. Do you think everything happens for a reason and embrace it, or do you play with victim? Do you believe temporary setbacks are just milestone that will lead to you success, or do you give up when you encounter your first major setback? Do you try to change things that cannot change, or do you accept them? Do you believe you are here for a reason, for or do you wander through life without any clear purpose? Do you believe problems bad and should be avoided, or do you believe they are necessary part of life? Remember, what differentiates people who live or happy live from people who are miserable is often how they choose interpret their life. Action step: write down interpretations of your emotions using the workbook. Section 3: how to change your emotions. And 2: changing your story. Write down one or two emotional issues you currently have. Ask yourself, if I could get rid of some emotions, losing which ones would have the most positive impact on life? Your interpretations of this issue. Ask yourself, what would I need to believe or believe for my story to be true. New empowering interpretations that will help you deal with this issue. Ask yourself, what do I need to believe to avoiding experiencing these negative emotions? Letting go of your emotions. Emotions are just emotions. They are not you. They are not facts. And you can let them go. Hell Dorking the Sedona method. As we have seen, interpretations, identifications, and repetitions can lead to the creation of strong emotions. In this section, we will see what you can to start letting go of emotions that aren't helping you achieve the life you want. Emotions are energy in motions, but what happens when you prevent the energy from moving? It accumulates. When you repress your emotions, you interrupt the natural flow of energy. Sadly, nobody taught you how do you deal with the emotions or even that both positive and negative emotions are a natural phenomenon. Instead, they told you that your negative emotion should be repressed because they are bad. As a result, you may have been repressing your emotions for years. By doing so, you let them sink deeper into your subconscious, allowing them become a part of your identity. They have often become patterns you may be unaware of. For instance, perhaps you feel aren't good enough or maybe experience guilt on a regular basis. These are the result from core belief you develop over time repressing of your emotion. Most of us have too much emotional bag and need to learn let go of it. We need to declutter of our subconscious and get rid of them negative emotions preventing us from enjoying life to fullest. The fact is your subconscious is already programmed to help you deal with life. The subconscious ensures you don't accidentally forget to breathe, keeps your heart beating, and regulates your body temperatures among millions of other things. It doesn't need additional belief to function well, neither does it needs to store emotions. If you are like most people, you spend majority of your time living your head. As a result, you are largely out of touch with your emotion. To start letting go of your emotion, you must first become aware of them and becoming more in touch with your body and the way you feel. Below are few simple steps you can take us to start letting go of your emotions. Observe your emotions with detachment. Whenever you experience a negative emotion, simply observe it with as much detachment as you can. That means getting in touch with your body. Realize that each thought or image crossing your mind isn't emotion itself. It's only your interpretations of it. Practice feeling how it feels. Try to locate the emotion. Think of the way you will describe the emotion to someone else. Remember, don't engage in story revolving around that emotions and believe in whatever image or thoughts that arises when you experience that emotions. Point number 2, label your emotions. Remember, emotions are merely temporary experiences, or if you prefer clothes you wear for a while, they aren't you. When you experience an emotions, now you say things like I am angry, I am sad, and I am depressed. Notice how you instantly identified with your emotions. However, this is factually incorrect. The emotions you experience have nothing to do with you who you really are. If you were your depression, you will be depressed all day long, every single second of your existence. Fortunately, that's not the case. Let's assume you feel sad rather than saying I am sad. A more accurate way to describe that emotions would be I feel sad or experience with feeling sadness. Can you see how different it's from saying I am sad? It gives you more space or distance yourself from your emotions. The more you become aware from your emotions, you more you can label them and detach yourself from them, and the easier it will be let go these emotions. Point number 3, let go of your emotions. Too often, you are over identified with your emotions and cling to them for the following reasons. They are the part of the story you are telling yourself. Sometimes you can't stop clinging. to story, even disempowering one, as you can become addicted to destructive stories despite knowing the aren't helping you. You believe the emotions you and feel strong need to identify with them. You may fall the trap of believing you are emotions. As a result, you identified heavily with them, and which creates suffering. Real life example: I regularly felt that I wasn't too good enough. As a result, I believe I should work for harder. This belief let me create list of daily goals that were impossible to complete even when working from morning to night. I often fell short on my goals, which reinforced the belief that I wasn't good enough. By realizing this was just a story, I started letting go of this belief. After doing so, I noticed I was actually getting almost as much work done, but without the need to struggle and feel stressed out. I am still working on that issue, but I gained tremendous value from this process. I challenging part was to let go of the attachment to my story by letting go of the following: the belief that I am not good enough and must work harder, the pride I feel I working harder than most people, the victim mentality that comes from working hard while not getting the result I want, the idea I am somewhat special, the idea the world needs to be changed, and the need to be control the outcomes of my actions. As you can see, letting go of core emotions is not easy. They have become part of our identity, and we often derive a twisted pleasure from them. We may even wonder who will be without them. Point 4: a 5-step process to let go of emotion. In his book, The Sedona Method, Hal Dwoskin explained there are 3 different ways to release your emotion as they arise. You can first let them go. When you experience negative emotions, you can consciously choose to realize them rather than repressing them or clinging to them. Second, allow them to be here. You can allow them and acknowledging their existence without clinging to them. Or you can. Third, welcome them. You can accept them and have a closer look at them to discover what the core of these emotions are. According to Hal Dwoskin, the first step in each case is to become aware of your emotions as they arise. He then introduces a 5-step process to let go of your emotions. Step 1: focus on certain emotions you will be to work on your so can feel better. This doesn't need to be big emotion. It could be something as simple as not feeling like working on a specific task or being mildly annoying about something. Step 2: ask yourself one of the following questions. 1. Could I let this feeling go? Could I allow this feeling to be here? And could I welcome this feeling? Depending on which way you want to go, release, allow, or welcome, answer a corresponding questions. Step 3. Then ask yourself, would I? Would I let this feeling go? Would I allow this feeling to be here? Would I welcome this feeling? Answer yes or no to each questions while being honest with yourself. Do you feel like you can let go, allow, welcome, and emotions? Even no will help you let go of it. Step 4: ask yourself when. Your answer will be now. You let go of that emotions immediately. Step 5: repeat this process as many times as necessarily for what particular feeling to disappear. You may to be tempted to brush off this technique as overly simplistic and ineffective. Don't do that. Try it yourself. Remember that you are not your emotions. That's precisely by practicing letting go of them you will realize the universal truth. As you make conscious choice to let go of your emotions, welcome them fully or allow them to be, you will gain a whole new understanding how emotions work and how release them. Action step: you use exercise in corresponding section of the workbook to start letting go of your emotions. Section 3: how emotions are formed. Third, letting go of your emotions. Make a list of your emotions you would like to let go of, or perhaps You will feel through your aren't good enough. Perhaps you struggle with your procrastinations and experience guilt and shame. Maybe you blame yourself some things you did in the past, or you worry about your future. Just write down whatever comes to your mind. Now use the method mentioned above. Select one emotions, then ask yourself, could I let this feeling go? Would I? Yes or no? When? Now. Don't worry if you are not successful at first. You will have plenty of opportunity to practice in the future.